Okay, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, from wherever you're joining us today to the WPS2 migration, aka EOL of the EPO Cloud Q&A and walkthrough session. This session is going to be recorded, and we will take this updated version to be placed in our migration guide, so everyone can look up this session, look up the video recording, and can view the summary again whenever needed. My name is Alexey Vasilenko. I'm the EMEA support manager, and have some other folks from Skyhigh with me. One key key person I want to introduce is Sergey, who will look into the technical questions everyone can raise during this session in the chat. He will try to answer them while we are going through the slide, or lately when we will have time for a Q&A. Our agenda of the session is a quick introduction about why and what we are doing here, followed by a walkthrough of the required changes. So the basics you have to go through even in the cloud-only environment or the hybrid. The Q&A, where we picked some common questions we have seen internally as well as externally, also as some sort of preparation for these sessions from the community thread we have posted, where everyone can send their questions. And at the end, a collection of the important resources URLs to get you all information and the links where you find documentation and all important details we are talking through and showing in this session. So about the why and what. So first of all, the important item is the deadline end of this year on 31st December. Until this date, the target is to have every customer who got migrated properly done and gone through all required changes with us. So if you need help, please reach out via support or your account or sales rep. So if you need assistance, please let us know. We have a full focus to assist you where we can to meet the deadline and guide you through any actions required. The main activity here is to get away and retire EPO Cloud, being one of the legacy technologies in this environment and will no more maintained. So whatever or however it was called before, like McAfee EPO Cloud and Vision EPO Cloud, this is what is impacted, and the login or the access URL is login.mcafee.com/v1. The current URL you have to use to get into the environment is auth.ui.mcafee.com, but I think communication was already sent recently on getting this replaced as well on the 12th December by auth.ui.trellix.com. KB is given as reference. With this migration, we also want to replace legacy proxy domains. So the policy in your MCP/SCP, where you address your cloud proxies or your user traffic into our cloud proxies. So far, you have even used McAfeeCloud.com or SaaSprotection.com, but needs to be replaced by WGCS or hybrid.skyhigh.cloud. Depends on the environment. So the default one in the cloud environment you use is WGCS. If you have a sync with an on-prem proxy, then you use hybrid.skyhigh.cloud. With our migration, we only took active entitlements from the EPO Cloud and moved them into the new environment. So it's like a one-to-one move. So every administration user you had on EPO Cloud was moved into the new environment. So we have not taken any action on trial or expired accounts. So this is then important if you log in on the new environment or try to log in on the new environment, you pick the right login from the right account. In case you have a trial account where we need reactivation or migration, please contact their account Customer Success Manager so that this can be taken forward with the backend team. From a cloud administration, from a future perspective, what options you have besides this EPO cloud. So the new environment, which we are calling the SSE platform, or EPO within Trellix. Doesn't matter if it is the cloud version or the on-prem version, or it can be also in future third party. So one of the next gen SAP projects is focusing on third-party client management like Intune and similar. Our walkthrough includes the cloud-only environment where the web policy is managed via the cloud, and the hybrid environment where the policy is managed via an on-prem MWG or in a mixed mode cloud and the on-prem SWG. From the client management itself, both of the two scenarios can be done via cloud or on-prem, so it doesn't matter in this case. Starting now with the first walkthrough and configuration steps. We put those into short videos covering the most important items. And as you can see, there is a call out on the verify customer ID. If you notice at this step, what we will show in a moment, any discrepancy, any issues, hold on with any future items, just contact support so that we can identify and verify what's going on. So now let's get into the introduction of our cloud-only SSE configuration.
This is a short introduction to cloud-only setup. What does it mean to have cloud-only setup? Cloud-only setup means that you manage your web policy in the cloud. You don't have any on-premise device to synchronize this policy. So you go to Skyhigh Security Cloud, open your web policy, and define your rule sets. These rule sets will not be imported during the migration phase. You will have to reconfigure your policy from scratch. However, I will give you some options to import lists so you don't have to type them or define the list from scratch.
Now let's look into how to verify your customer ID.
To verify your customer ID, go to the settings, infrastructure, client proxy management, select global configuration, tenant authentication, and verify the customer ID is matching your customer ID you had previously.
How to verify your data.
To verify your data is available in Skyhigh Security Cloud, check dashboards, web dashboard. Appearance of data in web dashboard confirms the data is available for past 7 days at least as shown in the statistics last 7 days of data. Access logs are available under Analytics web traffic, showing as well by default 7 days of last access log.
Coming to data residency settings.
By default, all data is stored in North America. Please review your Trellix EPO settings and match your Skyhigh Security Cloud settings accordingly to your preference. Select Infrastructure, Web Gateway, Setup, scroll down to the Log Data Residency and adjust to your preference. Save your configuration and publish to the cloud.
Next item is the SCP, formerly MCP configuration.
Updating MCP configuration, we have to go to Infrastructure, Client Proxy Management. Global configuration, then authentication. Here we can see this shared secret, which is grayed out. And what we need to do is make sure that the same shared secret, which is used either on your on-prem EPO or on the previous configuration, is matching our new Skyhigh Security cloud proxies. I will take a sample by exporting credentials. Open the same here. And take another sample from the previous EPO. Therefore, I'm going to use my cloud EPO. It will be similar to your on-premise EPO. Let me open this up. Here I would go to the policy catalog, use McAfee Client Proxy, and choose any of your existing policies. I do have a desk policy, I will just use that one. Here we go to Client Configuration and Export Customer Credentials. To export password, we have to go saving link as, export password. We can open the same up to confirm. Here you will be able to see difference between the previous exported and the current. This is from the Sky Security cloud, and this is from the previous one. If you recognize, here is the customer ID, and it's been the same here. Or should be the same here, so I do not have it migrated, so it's not the same for me. However, the difference is this line. We have to modify and add this line into our current exported password to make it compatible to the new service. You can use any editor of your preference. I use Notepad++ for that. Near to the end, before the MCP credentials, I add this line, keep domain name true, closing it, and save. So now this file will be changed to keep domain name equals true. The same as here. The only difference, yeah, I do have a different customer ID here. So I will be able to import the new file, edited file, to my cloud proxies. Therefore, I would go back to my configuration, choose import credentials, choose the XML file I just added, and would be able to import if I would have the same customer ID. So this is just a sample I used without a migrated account. In any other case, it should not throw you this error message. To finalize this one, you will have to publish the policy. After that, it will show you a pop-up on the top.
How to policy import SCP.
For cloud-only users, if you want to migrate your MCP policy, you have to go through infrastructure, client proxy management, configure policies. I do have already one created here. What we will do is import policy. Therefore, I will choose my current MCP policy from policy catalog, MCP client proxy, select the policy I want to export. Click on action, export policy to file, and choose client file. This will generate a file and save in OPG format. Okay, let's go back. Import policy, choose OPG file, you will recognize proxy server list is being added. There's additional servers being added. You might need to verify that the correct proxy is selected. Therefore, use the name of your policy you have imported. Verify which server is selected, which is alternative server you have selected here, and verify you're using correct domain. From server here, you see it's having McAfee inside. We want to make it obsolete, so you have to replace this with Skyhigh Cloud. And save. Don't forget to publish this one so that the cloud become aware of your new policy. If it's assigned to any user, the same combination of username and password is being known to the cloud.
Final item, let's look into how to import lists.
As next, we would have a look into import list content from EPO Cloud to Skyhigh Security Cloud. From here, you're able to use menu, policy, go to web policy. You won't be able to export the full policy or migrate this policy, unfortunately. What you can do is, for example, select whitelist or any kind of block list like global block list. You can navigate from the web policy to any lists on the right, export those lists and import to your Skyhigh Security Cloud policy. For example, I will take global URL whitelist and simply download this, export, file is downloaded. I will go ahead and use Excel to modify and remove unnecessary columns. Open an empty Excel book and use data from txt CSV file. Click load and simply remove the second row. Save file again. Now log in again to your Skyhigh Security Cloud proxy. Go to policy, web policy, policy. You navigate to the similar rule like global bypass, which will use the domain bypass, the general whitelist. You can select and say edit list. From the action button, import append, so we'll just add on the bottom. Okay, we have a preview. So we'll add those two lines. It's comma separated, it's fine. We'll say import. Click to save the configuration. Publish it. And we're ready to go.
All right, this was the first scenario for the cloud-only one in the SSE platform. Now let's take a look on the actions if we are doing the same activity in Trellix EPO. So first of all, the introduction of the setup.
For a customer who after renewal received Trellix EPO, managing their clients from cloud, all of those clients will receive Trellix EPO button here. No clients will be migrated from previous EPO to this Trellix EPO. So you will have to unregister those clients from WGCS, which you have used previously, and register them into this Trellix EPO. Policy can be migrated, and I will come to this later.
How to import your SCP credentials.
Customers with Trellix EPO will have to take additional step in order to import MCP credentials into the Trellix EPO. As we have already reviewed Skyhigh Security Cloud import for MCP credentials, we will go ahead with Trellix EPO import. This is a required step to match the credentials to the Skyhigh Security Cloud. Click on Menu. Under Configuration, you will find MCP Administration. Here, simply choose your file that you have modified previously and upload. Click on OK. That's it.
How to export the SCP policy.
From EPO Cloud or on-prem EPO. Go to Policy Catalog, select McAfee Client Proxy, choose the policy you want to export and click the Export link next to the name. Use right mouse button, Save Link As. You can choose your preferred name or just keep it as it is. Click on Save and download the file.
How to import your SCP policy.
Importing MCP policy to Trellix EPO, we will have to modify a file first. So we'll go to Trellix EPO, select Policy Catalog, choose again McAfee Client Proxy, click on Edit, say Export. Okay, you want to save the same file here as well to modify it later on. I will use Notepad++ as an editor and show you a sample here, how this looks like. This is a sample file we just have exported. And this will be the test file, test policy that we have exported from WGCS EPO Cloud. So we are especially looking for feature ID and server ID. Feature ID. So let's copy the value and modify the values here. Continue on Notepad++. Look for the same values. Feature ID, which needs to be replaced. The value from Trellix EPO. Here we go. Save it. And then go ahead to our EPO back and looking for server ID. Server ID, the correct value, and the server ID from previous one. So let's change this. And save. Once we have modified this file, we're going to upload it to Trellix EPO. Go back to policy catalog, McAfee client proxy, import, choose the file we just have modified. Click on OK. So now you can also assign test policy to your clients.
How to update your SCP policy.
For cloud-only users, if you want to migrate your MCP policy, you have to go through infrastructure, client proxy management, configure policies. I do have already one created here. What we will do is import policy. Therefore, I will choose my current MCP policy from policy catalog, MCP client proxy, select the policy I want to export. Click on action, export policy to file, and choose client file. This will generate a file and save in OPG format. Okay, let's go back. Import policy, choose OPG file. You will recognize proxy server list is being added as additional servers being added. You might need to verify that the correct proxy is selected. Therefore, use the name of your policy you have imported, verify which server is selected, which is alternative server you have selected here, and verify you're using correct domain. From server here, you see it's having McAfee inside. We want to make it obsolete, so you have to replace this with Skyhigh Cloud. And save. Don't forget to publish this one so that the cloud become aware of your new policy. If it's assigned to any user, the same combination of username and password is being known to the cloud.
All right, these have been the two cloud deployments we have shown you. Now coming to the hybrid setup. Before we go into the videos, just quick heads up. So the items to verify customer ID, verify data, data residency, we are not going to play again because those steps are identical to the first cloud-only SSE setup. So we'll go into the introduction and then go into the SCP configuration. Starting with the introduction of the hybrid setup.
For customers with hybrid setup who don't want to manage the policy in the cloud, will not have access to web policy, which means this part of the menu with policy will not be shown. You will not be able to access web policy. However, you will receive the information if your policy is synchronized on top. I don't have this option, so I cannot show you in this demo session. you will recognize information banner if your policy is synchronized.
Go to the SCP configuration steps.
Updating MCP configuration, we have to go to infrastructure, client proxy management. Global configuration, then authentication. Here we can see this shared secret, which is grayed out. And what we need to do is make sure that the same shared secret, which is used either on your on-prem EPO or on the previous configuration, is matching our new Skyhigh Security cloud proxies. I will take a sample by exporting credentials. Open the same here. And take another sample from the previous EPO. Therefore, I'm going to use my cloud EPO. It will be similar to your on-premise EPO. Let me open this up. Here I would go to the policy catalog, use McAfee client proxy, and choose any of your existing policies. I do have a desk policy, I will just use that one. Here we go to client configuration and export customer credentials. To export password, we have to go saving link as, export password. We can open the same up to confirm. Here you will be able to see difference between the previous exported and the current. This is from the Skyhigh Security Cloud, and this is from the previous one. If you recognize, here is the customer ID, and it's been the same here. Or should be the same here, so I do not have it migrated, so it's not the same for me. However, the difference is this line. We have to modify and add this line into our current exported password to make it compatible to the new service. You can use any editor of your preference. I use Notepad++ for that. Near to the end, before the MCP credentials, I add this line, keep domain name true, closing it, and save. So now this file will be changed to keep domain name equals true. The same as here. The only difference, yeah, I do have a different customer ID here. So I will be able to import the new file, edited file, to my cloud proxies. Therefore, I would go back to my configuration, choose import credentials, choose the XML file I just added, and would be able to import if I would have the same customer ID. So this is just a sample I used without a migrated account. In any other case, it should not throw you this error message. To finalize this one, you will have to publish the policy. After that, it will show you a pop-up on the top.
Now let's look into the hybrid sync.
To the web gateway configuration and synchronization status. From configuration perspective, we highly recommend to modify destination domain under configuration web hybrid. We have already updated our article with the number 87232 with the new domain names. I will simply copy the domain name and update this in the configuration of MWG. So the new domain name will be policysync skyhigh.cloud. Save this configuration, go to troubleshooting, select synchronization, and I press the sync button to trigger synchronization. Wait until it's completed. Verify policy synchronization successfully performed. Switch to our cloud UI. If you have cloud only, web policy will not be available. You can simply go for dashboard, web dashboard, and check the message on the top. It's saying the time and the name of the appliance the synchronization was done from. For users that have hybrid or mixed mode, you can add from the library by clicking on Show another rule set with the name Hybrid Policy. I have it already added to my policy, so I won't have this in the list. By selecting the rule set, Hybrid Policy Routing, you will find the same information on the right. Additionally, you can decide either you want to apply cloud policy, you want to have on-premise policy applied, or if you have specific locations, user groups, or users as in the criteria, you want to apply on-premise policy too.
All right, those have been the hybrid setup steps. Now let's get into the Q&A session. So I'll go through quickly a couple of questions we put together as introduced in the agenda. Once done, we will open the forum for discussion to look into the chat questions. What should I do, or do I need to take any steps if I'm not using EPO Cloud? So it means you have on-prem EPO together with SCP and an SWG to sync the policy to cloud. Well, that's the simplest set of migration scenario, because in this case you have at least to update the policy domains, so replacing the McAfee SaaS and SaaS protection proxy domains, and update the sync host in your MWG, so SWG, to get this sync established. Will my web policy be migrated? Can I import the whole policy? No, as said, the web policy needs to be recreated, but you can export and import your list items. Login on Auth UI McAfee.com is not working. What should I do? So verify the login ID so that the admin account email used in EPO is correct, what you use on a new environment. And if needed, try to reset. In worst case, contact support so that we can look into what is going wrong with the account. Is my reporting impacted? Any changes needed? So as we've shown in the videos, the data will remain, so you're not going to lose any back-end reporting data. We have already updated our reporting API URLs, see the reference KB article, and there are minor changes you have to go through in Security Reporter and in the logging client. So in the CSR log source, there is a region field. If you modify those, where you see those UCX values of the different regions. So select the one matching the data residency settings on the policy. In logging client, there is a setting called UC under service options, where you have the appropriate region you have to select to match your data residency setting from the cloud policy. admin accounts are missing, not migrated. So what happens or what do you need to do if you try to log in and well, you did the login and you recognized there are users missing? The easiest, you can just recreate them. So with your existing admin, at least one successful login or where it's working, you can just recreate any missing accounts or logins. If there is any problem with that activity, just reach out to support so we will investigate. What will happen if not migrated till the deadline? So we gave the information already in the SNS and the reminder messages we have sent. The most important and critical part is that once we pass the deadline, the management access will stop working. So you cannot do functionalities like changing admin logins, setting any shared secrets for your hybrid sync. You can't update or roll out the SCP versions or policies, as well as no access to the dashboards and the report information you have used in the past going over the cloud EPO. So the good part, at least at this stage, your traffic of the user is not going to stop at this point of time. So our environment will allow you still your traffic, so your user traffic to send through our cloud environment with the, at this point, last saved available filtering policy in place. So even if you miss to get everything done, your traffic will still flow through our environment if you don't have the direct impact to all your browsers or to all the browse traffic and users. So the management access is what is the biggest impact. So that's why I make sure at least you have the access to the new environment and at least export, import one or the important lists and recreate possible at least one basic policy in for a worst case scenario so that we can adapt and use this as a sample. What should I do when I'm using the control console? So control console is the legacy environment. So even prior to the EPO, cloud EPO. The good thing here is at this stage, you only need to replace the URLs you used to or got used to. So portal McAfee SaaS will be replaced at the moment by portal.mxlogic.com and console.mcafeesars.com by console.mxlogic.com. These domains are not impacted by any legal activities. We're going through replacing all McAfee into the cloud EPO environment. So these are still under ownership of us and we can maintain them so that we reduce impacts to control console here. So this was the items we put together. So try to focus on a couple of complexity ones, not the all basics. So we have some of the Q&As from the previous session in the community. And I put together a quick list here, like the reference to the migration guide, where you see all the written information from the steps we have shown. Also the link to the recording. As said, we will take this video to update the latest, I'll give you the latest video information. We have the community thread where you can post anytime, any questions. So the customer community can help, as well as us from support, where we are looking into those posts as well to give you answers to your questions. One important KB is the one with the IPs and FQDNs. We updating this one on a frequent basis once we do backend changes regards to new IPs, FQDNs. We typically send an SNS, but just in case there is any delay or any human miss, please make sure that you at least look from time to time into the KB to get the latest and greatest. SNS given as well. So this is the link, one of the reference reminders we have sent, I think, last week, if not mistaken. This link includes also the details how to subscribe to SNS. So if we do any change, any update on the infrastructure and want to inform global customer base, we are doing this via SNS. It's a subscribed service. So please, if you have not yet subscribed to this service, please do. Right, that's the slides I have prepared. Now let's go into the chat and the questions raised by today's audience. Sergey, do we have anything to address?
We had a technical question about the usage of the proxy name. It's been already answered. This is also, we do have the guide step for step, and all this information covered by the video is part of the this guide. To just raise your attention, you see migration guide success link here, and this will be shared after this meeting. So simply open this page, there's a video and those two guides for hybrid and cloud only, step by step in written form, and as well as the video for reference. There's another non-technical question, how we will make sure that all customers being informed. You can maybe address that or just answer that one.
So to the question how we are ensuring all customers have been contacted, what we did as a first step is already last year to announce this migration over the SNS. As said, this is a subscribed one, so there is still room for a miss of some admins. In the first session, what we did here is we took all main not admins at this stage, the main contacts we have in the database on the backend. So for those accounts who are migrated, we took the primary contact information from our database and have invited them to the first Q&A referring to this migration. For this audience and for this session, we took a different approach. So a next approach, let's say, next level. So it was not only the primary contacts. In this case, we took any login, so any user who did a successful login in this year 2022, to make sure we get attention on the active user, so actively using our environment, and have invited those people to this session. So there was a question about the extension of the date. There is no extension of the EPO cloud environment. So there are some legal constraints behind by McAfee. So we cannot extend the availability of the EPO cloud that easy as we would like to. We have 8 more minutes to go to close the hour of the session. So anything else anyone want to bring up to our attention?
I think as of now, so technically we should have covered everything.
There's another follow-up question on legal constraints. So I don't want to go too deep into all legal details in this session. So if there is any open questions about the legal background of this migration from McAfee times versus now the Skyhigh security brand versus Trellix, I suggest to reach out to the account or to the CSM so that this can be addressed in a separate session. So yes, there is a way for us. There is a question about how to generate report, how many users are still using the old environment. So for us internally, we have reports, so we are looking into it. We are closely monitoring the numbers, and week by week, we are looking into progress. We are working close with our account teams, support teams, sales teams, to educate and take opportunity to discuss those migration scenarios with our customers in time and offer them assistance.
Of course, that may be a personal question. So do you want to have a report for your own? How many of your users want still using the old cloud? Is that the question about? Okay, the question is more about the want to receive a report for his own tenant. How many of his users is still using the cloud? I think this is pretty much easy to determine because you do have deployed the MCP policy, and the MCP policy will contains the name of the proxy. So you can check what kind of policy you have assigned to users. Those are most likely registered either to the EPO cloud, or those are registered to your EPO on-prem. So you can gather this simple report, which policy are used, and there will be most likely a handful. There will be not hundreds of MCP policies. So there will be a handful of policies. You can double check what they're using and just simply change those domain names.
They take a look if it's McAfee Cloud or SaaSprotection.com. If this is you have in place in your MCP policy for the proxy domains, then you obviously use the old one. We can review if there is any sort of report or somehow a simple export possible to verify this. We can take this into offline view.
Okay, seems to be no more questions as of right now.
Yeah, we have still 3 minutes left, so I'll probably wait for another minute and see if we will get any further questions, or we'll close this call. So yes, in the worst case, we can work with operations to review for a tenant the used environment. But at the end, this is not the critical part. Let's say during this migration, how to address the proxy domain. So as said, even if we pass the deadline from the proxy domain, it will remain functioning. Right, the most important thing is the EPO cloud retirement, right? So the administrative view is the primary focus for you. The domain names and the proxy domain replacement is then the second item. but is the low impact in this scenario. So don't put the priority different here. But we will review this this question for options on how to get this reporting done. All right. Thanks everyone for joining and raising questions. In case of problems, questions, feel free to raise a support portal and or contact your account and customer success manager. Thank you all. Have a great day and hopefully a successful migration. Bye-bye.